Beautiful. Okay. We're going to cover, just to start, some quick Zoom etiquette. Then I'm going to walk through more of an agenda, and then we're going to get going. So to start, welcome. My name is Cameron Manning. I'm the operations manager for the League of Women Voters of Colorado. I suspect that I've spoken with you a lot over the phone or in person before all this craziness. But I'm going to be leading tonight a little bit. But we have a lot of well-versed people with Club Express, with the document library that's here. Just to definitely give a shout out, Beth Hendricks is here. Rihanna Osman is here. And so between the three of us, I hope we're gonna really be your experts this evening. What we're gonna really be talking about is just kind of start with what is the document library. We're gonna talk about how to get into it. We're gonna talk about what's in it, how to navigate it. And then we're gonna have a big bulk of time for any kind of questions that you may have. My initial plan was to kind of walk through and share my screen and show you what it looks like to log in, to look at it. And I'm thinking we're probably gonna stop a little bit as we go to answer some questions. But if at any time you have any questions and I'm kind of talking or in the middle of something, feel free to use the chat box. If you haven't used it already, it's pretty easy to use in Zoom. At the bottom of your screen, there's a little like written blurb icon, and it says chat. If you click that, it should open on the right hand of your side of your screen a running log of the conversations that have been had. There's nothing yet, but if you have, there we go, Andrea. Hi everybody. So if you click chat, you should be able to see that message. And if at any time you have a question, just type it in there. And then if I don't get to it, someone else will, and that's just how we'll roll. I got my little script here, I'm looking. Cool. With all that said, is there any really burning questions we have right now? If you want to unmute, you got a question, go for it. I'll give you 7 seconds. No questions. Perfect. Okay. So for the bulk of it, I'm going to start off by sharing my screen. And I do want to make a note that Club Express as a product, as a thing, is really, really good about remembering your passwords. And I say that, and I preface what I'm doing with that because what I like to do is anytime I'm testing some sort of Club Express thing, I'll always put it in an incognito browser. I use Google Chrome. And all that means is it gets rid of your cookies. And that's fancy talk for saying it won't remember your passwords, which I think in this context is really helpful. So I'm going to share my screen. Cool. You should be able to see, oopsies, hang on. Should be able to see that. Cool. Okay. So I have my screen shared. This is using Chrome. And I say that's important because it's going to depend on whatever device you use. If you are a Mac user, you use your iPhone, you use. I got muted real quick. But if you use like an iPad or something like that, this will look differently, obviously. But I use Chrome, and what I did is I'm on the League of Women Voters of Colorado homepage. It's pretty easy to find, right? We're officially LWV Colorado. If I can type .org, right? And then I'll bring it right to our home screen. Now, a question we get a lot, and this is a reasonable question, is when you get here, you see this member login button, and oftentimes folks go, do I have a login for the Colorado League website? And the answer is you do. You do already have one. Whether or not you've logged into it or not before is another matter. That's okay. But it's important because
Cameron, we're missing your microphone somehow.
Can you hear me?
No, there's a thumb over it or something.
There's a thumb over it.
There, that's good.
Can you hear me?
It's a little spotty.
Okay, I'm gonna talk more. Huh. I know a second ago I got a little muted. Andrea, can you hear me or no?
I can hear you, but it's a little crackly.
Okay. Maybe it'll help if I talk slower.
Yeah.
Okay, I'm gonna talk slower and better, I hope. Thank you, Andrea. Okay, so as I was saying, this is our home page. To start to see the document library and really to access much of anything else, you're going to need to log in as a member, and you start by doing that by clicking this member login button, and you're going to get this screen. I already know my login, and if you do not know yours, if you don't know what that is, that's okay. The directions or what you need to do if you don't know is you need to, for the most part, the best option will be to contact your local league. And I say that because all local leagues that have Club Express, and that's most. I think it's like over 90% of the members in the state are on Club Express. And your local league maintains your account. They maintain your password. So if you don't have it, what they can do is they can reset it for you. And that would email you a password. It's a pretty straightforward process. If you want to email me or the league office, you can do that. Chances are I'm going to forward that request on to either the office or the person who manages that for your local league, just because they're the keepers of that information, and have the ability to reset it. So that's just to start off there. I do want to make sure we don't have any questions, which I actually can't. Oh, here we go. Let's see if I can get to it. I'm going to see if you have any questions so far. Not yet. Okay. So I'm going to keep going, but if you have anything, feel free to write them in. So another way you're going to know that you are logged in as a member on the Colorado website is that you see this little members drop down. That will not be visible if you are not logged in. I still don't sound good. Okay. I'm sorry about that, folks. Not my intention. I'm gonna keep going though. I don't think I have any other options. So yeah. So you're only gonna see that members only drop down if you're logged in. If you're not, you won't even see it. So that's gonna be real clear to you. To get to the document library, just scroll over and then go to documents. You're gonna get hit with this screen. The document library, I want to kind of give a brief overview of what it is and how we use it. I will say that if your local league has Club Express, you have the same ability to do exactly what we're doing. You probably have the ability to do it even better if you wanted. There's a lot of capabilities here. It's just a module in Club Express that you could enable.
Cameron, this is Fran.
Hi, Fran.
Are you using some kind of earphone or something? Because it's almost like your body movement is causing all this static and you going in and out.
Okay. Let me, what I'm gonna do is, if you give me a moment, let me check how my computer's using my mic, folks. Just give me a second. I may be able to fix it. No promises here. But there is some stuff.
Cameron, do you want to try talking to see if we can hear you?
Yeah, I haven't changed too much. You can't, is it any better?
Yes.
It is better? Okay. Okay, I'll be real still. I'll be real still and talk slowly maybe. I'm struggling, folks. I'm sorry. I don't know what it is.
It's like you've got a loose connection or something, Cameron.
Yeah, it could be an internet connection. My computer shows my mic's working. It's just, yeah, it may be a little bit of a loose connection. I'm looking at one more thing. I'm
Do you have
sorry,
a
Sam.
phone headset? Do you have a phone headset you could put on that has a mic on it?
Is it that bad? You know what I can try to do is I can call in. Let me try that. Let me try. I'm going to try a funky way to do this, but it's going to take me just a moment. I'm going to stop sharing my screen, okay?
Thanks for your patience, everyone.
Can you hear me any better?
Yes,
Can you?
yes.
Testing. Can you hear me okay? Cool.
Thumbs up.
I'm getting some feedback on my own phone, so that is okay. Okay, I'm gonna go ahead and continue. Do I have a thumbs up? Do I sound okay? Sound okay? Okay. Let me go back to sharing my screen, and we will continue where we were. Apologies for that, everyone. Okay. So, getting right back to it. Document library. We logged in as members. We're here. Now there's a funky thing that's important. So if you're taking notes, this is something to write down. So in the document library, you see that there are these titles of the folders on the left-hand side of the screen. If you click on one of these folders, right, like I click on this local league resources folder, the text of the word, it's going to show that I have no documents in this folder. That's okay, because what's happening there is that this local league resources folder has a whole bunch of subfolders. And to open the subfolders, I need to click this little yellow icon. And when I do that, it opens a whole lot of subfolders. And all the documents that I want, they're probably in here. And I point that out because this is kind of one of those things that can be a little tricky when you really get into here. So again, just to reiterate, once you get to this document library screen, to really how to navigate it, that the folder icons open subfolders, and you can access these folders by clicking on the text that describes what it is. But if the and this is not a really good example because that's not for you all. But the local league resources one, this 100th anniversary folder, right? If I click on that, it's going to show me a whole lot in here. So that's just something to keep in mind when navigating the document library, is that it's probably there. You kind of got to click around a little bit. I see a chat, which I appreciate. There we go, right? Ruth is like, I don't know, I can never do it. And that's exactly why I'm covering it. And I know that's a little unintuitive as a user, but that's the hand we were dealt. So that's what we're going to work with. So that's how to get into the document library. And I want to now go through and just kind of describe how it's organized right now, and what you can find in it. And then, again, if you have any questions, feel free to type them in. I want to keep us moving some. So the first thing to start off is that folders in the document library are protected by user type, okay? And we on the back end, any Club Express user, so say your local league Club Express administrative person, they can decide which folders people can see. and which folders people can access. So I, for one, and what we're looking at now, I have, I think, 2 folders that most of you can't see. I have this San Luis Valley MALs and this LWVCO Board of Directors folder. Chances are you don't see those, but I'm saying that because if you as a user ever wanted to differentiate certain groups of people to access certain things, you can do it this way. Another big thing here is that you can also do this based on how folks are logged in as a member to the website, right? So in this context, as you notice, the document library actual module is hidden. It's put under the members dropdown, which means that only league members of Colorado can get to where we are now. That's intentional. But the other flip side of that is that by default, we have our folder set up so that anyone can see these documents if they're linked elsewhere. So I'm saying that because say you go on our home screen on, League of Voters Colorado, and you go to legislative action, and you're looking for, say, the current positions for action, right? You're looking for our positions for action. And on this page, there's this link. And if I click this link, it's going to bring you to actually the same document that's in the document library. And so I think this is just important to recognize that a lot of the things that you may be looking for, not all, but especially the things that are public facing and non-member facing, they can probably be accessed elsewhere on the website without necessarily needing to log in to the document library. That depends on what it is. For example, all of our publications, like our ballot issues, in those documents, we don't have a new one yet, but the 2019 one, right, it's here. So things like that, you can typically find just on the website, and the document library really, when I think about it, I think of it as a reference library for our league members. And that's how it's really best used, and how we are kind of using it at this point. I see a question. Cool. Rebecca, if you want to head out, go for it. Can these documents be downloaded to our desktop? It can, yeah. So anything like this, if I go to this document and I just click it, it's automatically going to download. And that's how this works for all these documents. It does depend on the type of document. So for example, like if you click a PDF document, it may just open in your browser and may not automatically download depending on those settings on your computer. But yeah, by default, it's going to download. Okay, I'm going to keep moving and just talk about what's in here. So local league resources, as you see, there's no documents in this folder, but there are subfolders. And in the subfolders, they're divided by topic. So 100th anniversary, there's just a whole bunch of stuff in here. There's anything about Tom Carson's guide to 501c3 conversions in here. That's something we get asked a lot to distribute. It's a really good resource if you're a local league or an organization that's switching to a 501c3. Fund development, similarly, notice I click on just the text, I'm not going to see what's inside. But if I click on the icon, I get these subcategories, these subfolders, and it looks like all this stuff is populating down here. But grant opportunities, this is something to point out because we do have another grant opportunities page that lives on this members area, but the same documents that are linked to that page, they live here. So that's just another example of how it's the same stuff. Fundraising Toolkit, whole bunch of stuff here for you all to use or to not use. Refund, tax checkoff, just a little how-to guide, CARES Act, leadership development. These are just a big old hodgepodge of local league resources. We pulled some logos for you all to use if you wanted to grab them from here. These are the same stuff that's on the national website that you can kind of get through their league management portal. Rionda has populated a whole bunch of great resources, how-tos, technology related. There's going to be a lot of other Club Express related documents in here. Again, all available. Some LWVCO governing documents, and some sample governing documents. We're starting to collect some of this. Excuse me. Generally, the big thing for us right now at the document library, and for you, I guess you all to recognize, is we're always adding to it. We're always changing it. We're taking stuff, we're adding stuff because it's a living resource, part of the website. So if you see something that you're like, Cameron, that's not up to date, let me know. Send me an email and we'll get an up-to-date version. Similarly, if you see like a place, a folder, and there's not as much as you think that can go in there, right? If you have ideas, feel free to send them to us and we'll throw them in there. Advocacy resources, these are divided. We have some toolkits. We're still growing these out. And again, it's all kind of based on the content that we have. So if you ever have content, feel free to send it. For example, we have a whole bunch of national popular vote stuff. I'm looking at a question we got from Jill. Can individual leagues upload a document by themselves, or do you do the uploading to the files? Great question. For the most part, I'm thinking, I'd have to really double check, but I'm about like 90% confident that you all cannot upload directly to the folders. We have the ability to do that. So for example, the board of directors, they've been using folders that did allow the board to upload directly to those folders. You can also institute a process where if someone uploads something, then you get an email notification, and then you can either like decline or approve it. That's also an option. If you were looking at a folder that you could upload something to, you would see this blue upload button kind of to the right. I see it because I'm an administrator for all these folders, but that is a good question and an option. So toolkits for advocacy, all by topic area. Thank you for folks that have sent this. Again, this is all kind of content that we, need and use from you all. So that's where we get it. So it's good when we have that. Advocacy resources. We got some voter support resources. We have a little bit of information about partnerships. We do get this question. It's a good resource for you all. If you have a question about what's the League of Women Voters Colorado's relationship with another organization, either in the metro area or otherwise, I think it's in the toolkit as well. There's like a list of all the organizations that we've worked with. Again, this is something that requires us to update and keep on it. But know that if you're curious or you need a kind of a good starting place, that's where to find that. I think I also got in the habit of putting our event and meeting information here, and that's pertinent. Say that you attended, Making Democracy Work Day, 2019, almost a year ago now. All the presentations for that are here. There and we do that after our event. Before an event, you can also find the agendas for things typically. When we have them, they're uploaded here. Even for council this past time, the workbook and the bylaws as reference lived here before the actual time. So just know if you see something like that, that's probably because it's in the works. Events and meetings. Also say if we when we get again, I think I need just to upload. I think I have it. But for like the council, we'll get those minutes in here and get all that updated. Another folder, communications. We keep copies of emails that both we send and that local leagues send and I receive. I was actually thinking about this before the call and realized I probably need to go and resubscribe now that to most local leagues now that we've had a Club Express change. But our voters live here, even past Club Express. We have some in here. We keep some PR things, legislative letters. We also keep some local league newsletters, right? So let's say in January 2020, these are the ones that we received. We actually don't get a lot of folks that look for these, but no, they are here, and I think we'll continue to add them, especially now that more people know about them. If you're ever curious, what was going on in you know, Larimer County in January of 2020. You can find out here. Gonna keep going. We're almost done, I think. Communications. Oh yeah, and then publications, right? So anytime that we publish something, whether that be ballot issues, whether that be our petitions for action, your voice, your vote, pamphlets, English, Spanish, these get updated when we have them. And this is kind of where when I started, when I had that page that showed the ballot issues, and I you know, showed that link, and it brought you to the document. Same document, it just gets links to here, and so you can find it. We tend to try to keep repeated documents down to a minimum, just because, you know, version control can be a little tough that way on the back end. But that's kind of what we do, and yeah, capture as many of that as we can. And that's the bulk of what we have in the document library at the moment. So with all that said, I do want to stop for a moment and let are the docs dated? Good question. Yes, they are dated. When you upload a document to this library, that whoever does that has that option to do a title, description, who's putting it there. And we do have a few folks that end up adding documents, so you'll see a few names there, and you'll see descriptions. And I think there is room and space for us to do better with having some descriptions on certain things, especially for folks that may be new to the league. But they are there, and yeah. So maybe an example of that. Let's see. What's that? Maybe if I just like pick a random one. Yeah, exactly. Okay. So this document I just randomly selected. I don't know if can you see all this? It's like a pop-out on my screen. Okay. You see how there's a description. It shows where it is, the author, and when it was loaded. And on the back end, we can actually see how many people view it, how many downloads it gets, which helps us know what's being used and not used. But that's how that works. You can see it. I want to give a moment for questions. If you either wanted to type them, or if you wanted to unmute yourself and ask them, feel free. We covered a lot of material in just, well, less than 30 minutes because of my audio issue. Cool.
Cameron, this is Jill again. Could you open more of those so we can see how they look? It was interesting to see that one, but
okay.
How do like, okay, films about suffrage, if you would open that, is that just a list of them, or are there links, or what?
Cool. Okay. So can you repeat your question? I was working through my audio again.
Oh, okay. I was asking, could you open some of these just so we could see what they look like?
Okay.
Like we saw the one about Inez, but is this how they all come out, like a little card or something?
Okay. Yeah. Good. No. Good question. So it's I'll just explain it. So for these, this is kind of just like a list of what's in here. When I click it, it automatically downloads. Okay. So because these are Word documents, for example, when I click this, you know, LWV article, right, and I download it, then my actual computer is going to download it. And to access that, I would need to go and open the download. I can do that, but it's just like a Word document, and I would have to kind of share to that. Right here, watch this. Right. So I mean, it's a Word document that I downloaded and then opened again. But if you have if it's a PDF document, then it may just like open up in your browser and you can like read it immediately. Okay, go back.
Thanks.
Any other questions? That was a good one.
I'm interested in knowing what kinds of things you want to have that local leagues might produce at the state level. And my example would be going into the national convention. The Boulder League has a lot of materials on voting methods which were relevant to the national concurrence that was being considered. And so we can always, of course, say, go to the Boulder League's website, go to our voting methods team page, and they are there. Are there things like that that you would want at the state level, or how do you want to differentiate the structure for that?
That's a good question, and I may need to somewhat defer to other Colorado folks, but I think that you know, in general, our vision, right, when we talk about like toolkits for this, is we really do want it to be a comprehensive resource for you all, and you know, and anyone who may be interested in that. So I think the voting methods is a really good example of something where I mean, I'm just gonna look and see if I can. Where is this? It's under Advocacy Toolkits, because I know we got some stuff in here from Boulder County. And this is the kind of thing that we have stuff for. I would need to kind of look and see how many, you know, people are downloading these things. But of course, right, if you all are changing your stuff and you go, hey, maybe the State League wants a copy of this, we would gladly take it and we'll put it in here. You know, obviously, you know, we would love that. I think that because this is a good example of because Boulder County has really made a name for itself, right? You know, locally as being the voting methods folks, that we're obviously going to be deferring to you all, you know, in that material. And so it's as much as you have and you're willing to share. We don't have a limit on how many. Well, I just don't think we do. How many documents so much we can have. Each document does have a size limit. So like we can't put, you know, huge books in PDF version, for example. And we're also, we started to put some of our webinar recordings in here, but we're actually gonna, I'm gonna start to use YouTube more because we're running into our capacity where Club Express is saying, hey, you can't have a big video. But things like that, you know, we're learning and we're adapting. But for the most part, there's very little restrictions on that kind of thing. I don't know if Beth or if Rionda or anyone else wanted to chime in about, you know, what we would take from local leagues. I'm not sure.
I agree that we would, we want this to be as comprehensive a resource as possible, and we'll take just about everything you all have.
Yeah.
Well, you also want to remember that if it's on, for instance, the Boulder site, perhaps it's more useful to have a page on the state site that says, you know, our whole state loves voting methods, and here are resources from Boulder, and then that links to the Boulder documents. That
right.
In general, I recommend, frankly, that most of the things that are in the document library are actually referenced from a page. Now that makes a lot of, you know, work to keep the links going, you know, and when you lose a link, you're, you know, so you have to keep testing them. And when you move something, you have to remember that you moved it. And, you know, so it does make overhead work, but it provides a context for what you're doing, and it's much easier than sending someone in to graze through the library. And the bigger the library is, the worse it gets.
Yeah, no, I totally agree with Rionda. Yeah. There's another question?
Is there a naming convention process that you guys follow that, you know?
No,
Yeah,
good
kind of
question.
naming convention, so there's some standard of consistency.
Right. No, and we don't have that, and that's a great suggestion. So thank you for that, Alicia. Yeah, that'll go on the list. We're you know, we're still learning how best to use the document library, and to shed a little light on that, a little more, I guess, is we are transitioning in the state team to kind of be removing our working documents out of the document library. Right now, we've kind of sort of been using that, but we're gonna really be focusing on this idea of it being, as Rionda said, a place for things that are really linked on the website, but also to be kind of those comprehensive toolkits. We're trying to do a balance, but we know that the document library isn't the best for things that aren't final yet. It's really good for, like, you know, I've got this, I'm PDFing it, it's good for the next year. That's really where the document library begins to shine.
Okay, thank you.
This is Eve out of Pueblo. I have a question regarding our newsletter. We have somebody that puts out a great newsletter for our chapter. Is the state encouraging us to send our newsletter up?
Absolutely.
Okay.
Yes, ideally to communications@lwvcolorado.org.
Okay,
I'll
thank
put that
you.
in the chat box.
So that truly kind of I'm looking through. So right before I get to your question, I just want to say that for the most part that kind of ends my little scripted thing about the document library. So I do want to open it up to questions. We do have a good 22 minutes left of everyone's time, but if you feel like you are good to go, you obviously welcome to head out. We're probably just going to answer some questions and sort through that. Or if you want to type something in the chat, or if you just wanted to give the office a call or shoot either me or Beth an email, we'd be happy to do that. If you wanted to schedule a separate time, say for more folks in your local league, we welcome that. I'd be happy to do that. We're here to help. Yeah. So with that, any other questions or what's up? We'll happy to answer.
Cameron, check the chat.
Check the chat.
Yeah.
Okay, I see. No, maybe. I think I got to some of this. We got some good links to, and thank you, Julie, for posting the positions. That's great. I think I touched on anything. Am I missing something?
Go up. Fran had a question about how you determine the subject folders.
Oh yeah. Okay, I missed that. Yeah. So that is kind of we don't have a formalized process for it. If anything, I think it's something that I decide. But I'm by no means stuck on anything. If you have an idea and you're like, hey, Cameron, this is a much better idea, I am so welcome to hear it. Again, I think, we're still working with the document library. We're still learning what's best and adding and changing things, including the folder structure. And so your input is welcome there. Yeah, we'll take it.
Thank you.
Any other questions for us? Got one for my reading times. When you see the count of open pages, is it anonymous or linked to the person? Good question. It is anonymous. So if you wanted to look at the same document 300 times, I will not know the difference. I will think it got 300 separate views.
Well, let's see. One of the questions that I have gathered in the last couple of weeks, as people are putting in their Club Express systems and have actually turned to think about what to do about the document library, is that there are all these questions about what do you do with the old stuff? The really old board meetings, the old annual meeting packets, old financials, it's sort of a decision that you have to make, that there should be a cutoff date. And for those things that are, really nobody's looked at in a very long time, just put them on a CD and send them to, the local library or wherever. Yeah.
Not your financials. Don't do that.
Well, no, not them.
Susan asked a question, do you want every league's bylaws or other typical documents? If so, can you provide a call for these on an annual basis? I think that's a good question and good idea. We just started to gather some sample local league documents and policies. I like the idea. Maybe Beth or Rihanna has another opinion. I don't know. It's kind of the things of, is someone going to look for it? Are they going to want it? Are they going to see it? I think right now there's a lot of movement with local leagues assessing their bylaws and their policies and procedures, and making sure that's all where it needs to be. So I think it could be helpful because it provides some examples for other folks to look at. I don't know. Any other opinions about that?
Can't hurt.
Yeah.
What was that?
It can't hurt.
It can't hurt. That's right. Yeah.
Well, it probably would be helpful so that, we're not like everybody's reinventing the wheel when if there was a document they could access and then, plagiarize it a little bit.
If it will help you all, then great, we'll do it.
Yeah, that's the attitude. So yeah, we'll put it on our list to do some sort of request for sample documents, or your bylaws and yeah.
How many chapters are there in Colorado? I'm new to the league. I joined in December, so I'm still learning. How many?
16. 16,
because I'm just thinking if there's not a lot, maybe each chapter, I don't even know if you call them chapters, could have their own folder, and I don't know.
I'd just like
so
to mention that
yeah,
things are policy on things. Are they current information basis?
But Barbara, I had a hard time hearing you. You were breaking up.
I just asked, is there a time limit on how long documents stay up?
I'm seeing it broken out, but I'm seeing no from Beth. Barb, if you wanted to chat in your did she head out? No, Barb, if you wanted to clarify and type in your question, then we can make sure we answer it. Susan says we won't be offended. Okay, cool.
I have a question about getting into the member part of the state website, and I think I created a sign-in and a password. I think when I signed up for the annual meeting or something, I don't know. But is that correct? Or did you say that our league's Club Express is going to have our information or our password and our sign-in?
So what kind of happened here is that there's no one answer because most of the local leagues in Colorado have adopted Club Express just within the last few months. But in that process, when that happened, all the members were emailed a username and password kind of thing, like a welcome email. Now that happened a long time ago, and things get buried in our emails, so it's totally understandable if you didn't click that. That password that was sent on that first email from your local league, that probably expired by now. So if you haven't used it, you're going to need to create a new one by resetting your password. I don't know if I kind of mentioned it, but I definitely want to reiterate that because a local league that has Club Express, they share the same password and username on the state office. It's the same thing. It's the same account. So if you were to log into your local league website, if you have done that, or if your local league has Club Express and they're at that point, then the same username that you use to get there will get you into the state website. So same thing, and so that's kind of why they maintain it.
Okay, I'm not understanding, and I'm new to the league as well. I've been a member a long time, but not really active. And this is the League of Women Voter Colorado.org, and it's my sign in and my password. So, but I'm confused because I haven't heard anything about a password from Club Express. I understand our league has it, but has not signed up or has not enabled it or something.
Right.
So
So
when
Jill,
they enable it, will I be getting something then?
Jill, what local league are you a part of?
Arapahoe Douglas County.
Okay. So it's going to be, you know, that process is a long one that someone from your local league is working with Rionda to do, and working with Club Express. So if you haven't received that email, or if you, I mean, I guess the biggest tell would be if your local league website is running on Club Express. So if you were to open your local league website, and if you scroll down the bottom and it has like a little Club Express, you know, little trademark, then it's Club Express, and you will be able to log in with that password. If you don't, then you don't have it yet. And even if you, and say Arapahoe and Douglas is a good example, because even though you may not have a website from your local league to log into, you do have an account created, and that account is still managed by your local league folks that are working through that transition. So even though if you can't log into your local league on this, then that's still the same team that's doing that will be able to get you on the state website if you haven't already. It's kind of a little nest of craziness, but the short answer here is that all the members that do not have Club Express, they're members of the Colorado League according to our website. And for you, before Arapahoe and Douglas League had Club Express, they were members of Colorado, and at some point received that email long ago once we implemented. But that's all just to say that if it's not working now, it's not working now. And the best way just to fix that is to reset your password with your local league for the vast majority of the members in Colorado.
Okay, thank you.
There's some questions. Barb asked, how long do documents stay up and when are they reviewed for the currency? Great question. We do not yet have a firm process on this, but we're welcome to create it, and yeah, Barb, I'm all about it. Reading through some questions. Oh, Beth's answering them. Great. Yeah, I agree. If you see something that's out of date, or that you especially know, like say something that your local league has put together, yeah, and you double upon it, yes, send me an updated copy. I'll get it updated. We still have 9 minutes of scheduled time. Any other questions?
I'm going to make a comment. This is Fran from Denver. It seems to me like in order for you not to have like document overload, that whenever a local league meets annually, say, that they probably should only have like 2 years worth of an annual meeting, and then when it gets to that third year, they take down one maybe. But and same thing with the bylaws. If the bylaws were changed in 2019 and left alone on 2020, then it's okay to keep them. But say they get changed in 2021, it seems to me like it ought to be a replacement versus a ton of bylaws from every league. Otherwise, it seems to me like it'd get really overloaded.
You nailed it, Fran. Yeah, and that's a great point. That's how we are doing our publications area in the document library.
So right now, instead of just adding each year, we just replaced it with the most current. No, I agree. It can get too much. Irene has a question. If you are not logged in as a member and you click on a link, will that document show? It will. And that's just how the back end is set up. That and it's kind of cool that way. But if you if we send like the URL link of that document, it'll be viewable by anyone. We can turn that off, but by default we've made sure that all those things are able to, you can see that. If by chance you go into the document library and you click on, say, an email, like you get a Colorado email and there's a document and you click it, and if you get a notification saying, hey, you need to log in to see this, then that means that that's some member protected document, but probably a mistake on our end, and we should fix it. But very rarely do we really specify that these are members only documents. Even though the whole document library is kind of only accessible under the members tab, but we still recognize that anyone can really benefit. I mean, say, our toolkits or publications, we want those visible by as many people that wants to see them. Anything else? Yeah, Beth reiterating. Yeah, so I think we should start to wrap up. I just want to thank you all for being here. I know we had some technology troubles. Thank you for managing that. If this was helpful, great. You're always welcome to email, to call the office, Beth or I. We're happy to talk about this. And again, if this is something that you think that more people from your local league can benefit from, happy to do it. Rionda Osman is our expert on how to set up Club Express, how to use it. And so I'm sure that your teams have worked with her, especially if you're implementing Club Express. So I think she's a great resource for these kinds of questions too.
Yeah, and if you have a question, I will run down the answer for you. So don't hesitate to contact me too. Yeah, we're here to help. And yeah, thank you all for being here. And with that, anything else? Someone?
Great. Thank you so much.
Thank you. Okay. Good night, everyone.
Good night. Oh my God.